Hi, I'm Mike Lavoie. I am a realtor here in Tampa Bay area with Dalton Wade Real Estate. Welcome to our favorite YouTube channel, Tampa Lifestyles. If this is your first time here, please take a couple seconds and click on the subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell as well. We will send you a notification when our next video is published. And if you like the video, click on the thumbs up thing down below. That helps us with our growth in the SEO deal. So you've made it to episode 3 of 3. We have been talking about becoming a first-time home buyer for the first time. This episode, we're going to talk about the offer and how to get to the closing table with as least amount of hassle as possible. You're going to want to watch this. Okay, so during the first 2 episodes, we talked about hiring a realtor, figure out whether you can afford a house, how to come up with the money, how much money you're going to have to come up with to put down payment and get the thing started. We talked about picking out houses and how to work with your realtor. This episode is going to talk about taking that offer that we have made that hopefully has been accepted, taking that offer from a piece of paper to closing. So your offer was accepted. Congratulations, you're under contract. You have a bunch of responsibilities now. There are, not to mention the financial responsibilities, you got a timetable. Everything from here on out keys on the effective date of that contract, which is the last time it was signed by whomever. That effective date you want to be careful of that and have your realtor, he'll watch it. But you can get in trouble if you don't make certain dates in the process. The first one is going to be making your deposit, your earnest money deposit. You're going to, in your offer, you're coming up with a sales price or your purchase price. You're going to come up with an amount of money you're going to put into escrow to help get this thing started. The offer is not valid. It's not a real deal until there's some kind of monetary exchange. So that monetary exchange is going to be, $2,000, some small amount that the title company is going to hold on to in trust, and will pay that money out, hopefully at the closing, to whomever it needs to go to. So your contract is going to stipulate how many days you have to get that money to them. You do not want to get out of contract, so you need to pay attention to this. They're going to take either a wire transfer or a personal check that has to be delivered to the trust company, to the title company before that deadline. Either way you do it, make sure you get a receipt. You want to have proof. If they come back and say, oh no, he didn't make the deposit, we don't know where the money is, you want a paper receipt that says you got it done. So that's the first step. The next step is going to be the inspection. There are 3 primary contingencies involved in this offer. There is the inspection contingency, the appraisal contingency, and the loan commitment contingency. All 3 of these are your only ways to get out of the deal if you change your mind or if something comes up out of your control. The first one is the inspection. The contract is going to stipulate how many days you have to get the inspection done. Usually 15, can be 10. But the number is negotiable, so you work with your realtor to your advantage to come up with a number. You're going to need to hire an inspector. You need to get that done right away. An inspection is going to cost $350 to $500 depending on the size of the house, where it's at, how far the inspector's got to go, and you will need to pay that before you're going to get the inspection report. Your realtor's going to know, maybe half a dozen or so realtors. I'm sure they will be happy to give you the names and contact information of those inspectors. Go through the list, talk to them, pick out the one you like, and order an inspection. What you're looking for is the home inspection. You need to get a 4-point inspection and a wind mitt inspection. Those last 2 are going to be dependent upon the age of the house, whether you need them or not. Your realtor will be able to tell you that. So you get this inspection, it gets done. You don't have to be there for the day of the inspection. If you want to be, that is fine. It's gonna take 2.5 to 3 hours. So if you go, just plan on sitting around and watching this guy tear apart the house. And what he does is he searches through everything in the house. He looks for, obviously the roof, to make sure it's still in good condition, the air conditioning, the plumbing. He makes sure that all the faucets work, the hot water heater works, washer and dryer works, the stove and the range work. He'll turn on all the appliances, runs the water, runs the dishwasher. He's gonna check the wall outlets around the house to make sure that they all work. He's gonna tear apart the house pretty good. You're gonna get a 45 to 50 page document back from him that's gonna list the good parts and the bad parts about the house. The good parts are, you don't need them right now. A lot of that is fluff. It's just information that you need to know that maybe someday when you've got nothing else to do, you can read it. The negative things, the bad things about the house will be outlined in red, or should be outlined in red, and they will appear in the summary in the first couple pages of the report. Every house, I don't care if it's a brand spanking new house or if it's a 50-year-old house, every house has issues. Do not expect to come back with a clean inspection on the house you're looking at. The older the house, the more the issues. When you get your report back, you and your realtor need to sit down and decide if these are important issues that we need to address, or if they're just, a piece of a doorknob is missing, or something minor. You don't want to get involved in a bunch of nitpicking conversation with the other side about dryer vents or dryer knobs. That's a $5 replacement. What you want to get involved with is if the roof is old, if there's evidence of leaking in the attic, if the air conditioner does not turn on. Those are major issues and are going to cost a lot of money to fix. So you need to look at those and address those situations. What you can normally do is go back to the seller and say, okay, it needs a new roof and it's estimated about $8,000. I'll split the difference with you. If the seller wants to do that, fine. If the seller goes, it's as is, it's yours if you want it. That's when you say, okay, I want to back out of the contract. I want my escrow money back, and I'll go to the next house. You have that option up to that inspection period of time that we put in the contract. Okay, so you reach an agreement with the seller on the inspection items, and they get fixed, or they're planned to get fixed. They don't have to be fixed until a couple days before the close. So you're going on the next big thing is once that gets done, the next big issue is the appraisal. The bank, in the last 8 or 9 years since the debacle, have been required to hire the appraiser. At one point in time, the realtor could hire the appraiser and just say, hey, appraiser, I need a house value at $300,000, and it worked, and that's part of the problem. Now, the appraiser has to be hired by the mortgage company, and is picked out of a pool of federally qualified appraisers. They will go out to the house, they'll look through the house and come back with a number. If that number comes back at value, which means that's the value, that's the purchase price that you offered the buyers, or I'm sorry, you offered the sellers, that's at value, that's good. If it comes back higher than value, that's good for you. If it comes back lower than value, that's going to be an issue. You're going to have to go back to the seller and say, okay, we have a $10,000 difference in appraisal and purchase price. We need to work this out. And again, if they want to sell the house, they'll work it out. If they don't, they'll say, nope, we aren't doing anything. Again, that's your option to back out. You can cancel the contract and get your escrow back, as long as you do it in the appraisal period. Once the appraisal comes back and you work out that part of the deal, the title company is going to start their section of the process, and that includes a title search. They're going to go back several years to make sure that the current owners have the legal right to sell that house. So they're going to track back owners for probably 18, 19 years to make sure that that person has the right to sell that house. That's what we talked about this earlier with the title insurance. That's where this comes into play. They're also going to look for open permits. Open permits have to be closed and dealt with before the house transfers. They're going to look for any kind of liens, mechanic liens, federal tax liens on the house. You cannot transfer the property if there's a lien in the house. A title company, if they find something, and normally they don't find anything. Once in a while, something will come up and they'll have to be dealt with by the seller, and it will hold up the whole process until that gets done. So now we're talking maybe 30 days since you signed the offer. By now, we should have a loan commitment from your mortgage officer. That's the third date that is a critical date. If you don't have a loan commitment by that date, you stand a chance of losing your escrow. Most people, when you work with a realtor, they're going to be on this pretty much all the time, because they want to make sure that you qualify and can get the loan before that date expires. Keep in contact with your loan officer, keep supplying them paperwork, but do not let that loan commitment date pass without either telling the seller I got the loan or telling the seller I can't get the loan. You do not want to lose your escrow. Okay, so all that's done, let's assume that we're going to closing day. The day before closing day, you're going to do a walkthrough, a final walkthrough through the house to make sure that it's pretty much the same. Your realtor will arrange it, go over to the house, it should be empty, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking to make sure that the sellers did not leave a garage full of junk that they expect you to take care of. You want to make sure that they didn't damage anything, that they didn't, steal a refrigerator. There are things to look at, but it is not a time to be critical about the house and say, well, I don't like that wall, the way that wall works, I don't want the house. Way too late for that. So when you're doing your walkthrough, look for things that would be unusual. Nail holes in the wall for hanging pictures, that's usual. Flooring that has buckled because it got wet since the last time you were there, that's not usual. So you need to look at that kind of stuff. After the walkthrough, you're going to go to the closing. And when you go to the closing, you're going to need to have two forms of identification. One with a state issued, and one a credit card can usually work. The title company will tell you this a couple days beforehand. A couple days before closing day, you're going to get an ALTA statement. ALTA statement will list all the numbers and all the transactions where every dollar is going through or going to in this whole offer. It's going to be a long document. Go over it with your realtor. He's seen it a couple 100,000 times. He'll be able to explain to you. But you need to go over the numbers and be aware of what they are and where the money's going. About the same time you receive the ALTA, you should get wiring instructions for the balance you're going to owe, which you're going to owe at the closing table. You've already given them an escrow, and let's call that $2,000. Your mortgage is going to be paid for by the mortgage company, and they will wire the money to the title company for that, but you're going to have to come up with down payment. And that's, we talked about earlier, it's about 3.5% of the purchase price. The mortgage company, I'm sorry, not the mortgage company, but the title company will send you a statement showing you exactly what you need to have wire transferred to the title company before the close. And trust me, you want to get this done before the close, preferably the day before the close, not the day of, to make sure that that money is sitting there, that you're not waiting for your bank to transfer the money and somebody messes up and it doesn't get it there. Make sure you do it before the close, preferably the day before the close. And before you send that wire, you call the title company and confirm the routing numbers and the account numbers that they sent to you, so we don't have a problem with wire fraud. Wire fraud is big time in this industry. And once that money gets wired to a bank in Bangladesh, you are not getting your money back. So confirm it with the title company. Okay, so we're all sitting around the closing table at the title company. You're going to have a closer there. Could be an attorney. Doesn't always have to be. You're going to have the buyer. You're the buyers, and your realtor should be there with you. Other people might be there. You might have the sellers there. Doesn't happen that often. And the seller's agent might be there. Again, it doesn't happen that often. But if they're there, it's no big deal. You're going to go through about 50 pages of signatures, so bring your better writing hand. The first set of documents are going to be for the loan. Now, the loan is different than the mortgage. In Florida, there's a loan that is the obligation to repay the money to the bank. That's what that says. It also says that if you don't pay, they're going to come and get the house. The mortgage is the document that says that the house is collateral for the loan. Those two documents are going to get done first. Your title closer is going to take and wire that money, or wire those papers to the mortgage company so that they can go through and make sure that they're all correct. And then the money will be wired to the title company. While that's all happening, the closure is going to come back and go through all of the deed work, the actual transfer of the property work, which is going to be a pretty good amount of papers. So just if you have questions on the documents, you can ask any kind of question you want to ask. The more questions you ask, the longer it takes. But if you have questions, this is the time to ask. The title company, the title closer, or the attorney, whichever you have there, should be able to answer those questions and give you an answer that you like or that you understand. I mean, I like it, but you should understand it. So once you get all this stuff done, the next big thing is waiting for the wire to come in from the loan or from the mortgage company. And I have sat there for 3 hours waiting for this to happen, just because of people, different time zones, they're going to lunch when you're trying to get a closing done, and it can take a while. Be patient, it will happen. Everybody wants to get you into this house as quickly as possible. Just be prepared to sit there for a couple of minutes. Once that money gets there, you are a new homeowner. You get your keys and you can go to your house. It's that easy. So, what did you learn in this process? Buying a house is not the easiest thing on the planet, but it can be done. It can be done if you have a plan and you know what to expect as you go along. Your realtor, if you work with them, they should be able to outline this and give you a daily, if you want it, feedback on where the process is. Most of these people, the title company, the loan company, and the real estate agent, they don't get paid until you are in that house. They all want this thing to proceed down the road as quickly and calmly as possible. Lean on them, have them report to you. I wouldn't do it daily, but I would want a weekly update on what the process is and and how far off we are, if we are off. I would like to thank you for listening to all three series. If you have questions on them, jot it down below in the comment section. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Again, if you're the first time here at our wonderful YouTube channel, click on the subscribe button and the notification bell. We will let you know when our next video comes out. And remember, if you like it, hit the like button or the little thumbs up thing down below. We need that help. I am Mike Lavoie. It's been a pleasure. We'll talk to you later.